Hey, what's up out there? This is Rob from Dare Angel, Rob Angel, more formally and professionally known as Rob Agnello, and I'd like to welcome you to my Sonic Stories. I'm sure a lot of you will be anxious to hear stories of my time in the studio with bands like Korn and Slipknot, Sepultura, Soulfly, Vanilla Ice, members of Earth, Wind and Fire, Fishbone, and so many other amazing artists, producers, and engineers, as well as my time working as an event laborer before that. And up until this day, I still work in the industry with a lot of top name talent. I think it's very important first to start at the beginning. After all, this is episode 1 of Sonic Stories. So, where does it all begin for me? Well, there were musicians in my family. One of my great grandfathers was a music teacher. My grandfather played a little guitar, he sang in the choir, and he was also a bugle player. At age 30, he was drafted into World War II, and he was tasked with playing the bugle and also teaching the bugle to others. In his time during training, all throughout his service in the Pacific Theater, all till he fortunately made it back home. In fact, one of the only photos I have of him during the war is this one. Of course, he's playing the bugle. There you have it. During war, there is music. Some of my earliest memories of music are sitting in the back seat of my father's Corvair. It was a white Corvair he had in the late 60s, and I recall being in a parking lot with my mother in the passenger seat, and I heard The Who's I Can See for Miles playing on the radio as I was looking out the back window thinking, I can see for miles and miles and miles. When you're a kid and everything is much bigger and magical, as it should be. I also remember music from back then, like The Fifth Dimension's Up, Up and Away in My Beautiful Balloon, The Age of Aquarius, and other stuff like that was playing on the radio. There were also record players around when I was young, of course. My parents had a lot of albums, and I used to play them. In particular, one I remember was the Supremes' Greatest Hits, I believe. Those three beautiful girls on the back cover, Stop, In the Name of Love, and all those other hits. I really credit Motown with shaping my early ear, the sound, the harmonies, the tones. They really did a lot for me. And it was later on I actually got to work with Mary Wilson from the Supremes and told her that story. She said to my supervisor, can I take him home with me? And I just smiled. She was an amazing person. Sadly, he passed away about a year after that. But yeah, music has given me a lot of special moments, and I'm here to share them with you. At around age 5, I did take some piano lessons, but there was one moment, one event that I regard as a real catalyst, almost like a signpost in life, premonition, I don't know what you want to call it. But I was 5 years old at my grandparents' house, that same grandfather that was in the war. And I went upstairs. There were 2 bedrooms. One of them was the spare bedroom. And I went into the bedroom. I opened up the closet door, and there was an alligator skin guitar case, faux alligator skin. I muscled it out. I laid it down on the floor. I flipped the latches. I opened it up, and in there was this guitar. A 1957 Gibson ES 125. It belonged to my Uncle Bobby, Robert Arone. I was named after him. We have the same initials. He sadly passed away a year and a half before I was born at the age of 13 from a brain aneurysm. Those things happen. In that case was this guitar, tortoiseshell pick that I still have, and sadly lost were 2 books of sheet music. One I remember was Fats Domino, because he was into that kind of stuff. I mean, come on, look at this guitar. But yeah, I recall pulling that guitar out, and it's been with me ever since. I'm fortunate to still have this thing. Through the years, I took a few months of guitar lessons at age 9 and again 12, mostly self-taught, but it ignited my passion for guitar and stayed with me. When I turned 18, my grandparents gave me this guitar. I have a brother, but he didn't play. I played, and so it's almost like it was meant to go to me. I had intended to then pass it on to my daughter. I wanted it to stay in the family. I was going to pass it on to my daughter, Rebecca, who was an amazing violin player, very talented. She started becoming interested with the guitar, but sadly she also passed away at the age of 14 and a half at the end of 2015. It was a devastating loss, but we put one foot in front of the other and played with the cards we're dealt. I always said if my grandfather was able to endure a loss like that, then I should be able to too. But not having her to pass this down to, I was thinking of the initials. My uncle was an RA, I'm an RA, she was an RA, but again, not meant to be. I will probably pass it down to my son, Gabriel. He's an amazing cello player and plays a little piano, big music appreciator. He's got such an incredible ear, and he will be an amazing caretaker for this instrument. I've been offered money for this guitar through the course of my life. One time I took it down to Florida. I actually checked it as baggage in my teens. It's foolish. Fortunately, nothing happened to it. But there was a guy staying at the motel. My uncle owned a motel we used to stay at, and there was a guy staying there working construction. And he said, oh, wow, I'll buy it from you. I'll give you $2,000. I was like, no, I'm sorry, can't do it. He said, tell you what, I get paid on Friday. I'll give you $5,000. I said, sorry, you give me 10. I still can't sell you this guitar. It has too much sentimental value. And when I was living out in California, Tracy Chapman was looking for ES-125. She was interested. I'm like, I can't sell this thing. When I was working at Indigo Ranch, the owner, Richard, my mentor, is an engineer and producer, said, well, what if someone offered you $100,000? Wouldn't you think maybe it was your uncle smiling down on you? I was like, I can't do that. I couldn't do that. This is meant to stay in the family for now, and we'll take care of it. But that brings me to an important lesson that this guitar taught me. As an inanimate object, brought an awareness up within me. I always said it was my prized possession. If the house was burning down, it'd be the first thing I grabbed before I ran out. After I had kids, I said it would be the second thing I would grab before I run out of the house. So it made me aware of a dynamic of, do we possess things or do they possess us? Do we have a grace and an ease with caring for things? Are we caretakers? Or do we possess? Do we cling in an unhealthy manner, anxiously, greedily, unhealthily? The awareness is that we don't own or possess anything. We're merely caretakers. Most of the stuff will go on beyond us. This guitar had another caretaker for 2 years before my grandparents got it from my uncle in '59. He and they cared for it. After he passed, they put it safely in that closet and cared for it until I came along. And we cared for it until I was 18 and brought it to my home. And I've cared for it ever since. I've taken very good care of this, obviously. My son will care for it. So we are but caretakers for the things around us, the people around us, so that they may go on to the future to find more caretakers. The things, the people, and this world. so that they may go on and thrive into the future as we go on into the future. And I hope to see you in the future for more of my sonic stories. I really wanted to start at the beginning, and I wanted to do this now because I think this will be the last video I ever do in this space. I've been here for 16 years, raised my kids for the majority of their lives in this home, and we're about to move to a new place and start a new chapter as we move on into the future. And I'll be making a space there so we can do some more of these sonic stories. And I hope you'll be joining me. Thanks for showing up, and I enjoy sharing all this with you. Don't forget, click like, subscribe, and hit that little bell so you get notifications when I do more of these. Oh, and if you're so inclined, I have another YouTube channel called Dare Angel Media, where I do reviews and things about music and tech kind of gear, stuff related to music and being a creator. So if that's something that sounds interesting, you can check that out too. But until then, take care of yourselves. Take care of those around you. Be a caretaker. Love y'all. Peace. Rob out.